Sweetheart, a moment before I utter another word, I want you to take a breath. And don't forget, there is no damage to you. You do not exceed the limit. If you are here, it is not by accident. Having spent your entire life with the sensation of being an outsider, this message is intended for you. You're not here just to receive, you're here to release. When you give $55 or more, you're telling heaven, I trust your timing. God doesn't need the amount. He honors the faith behind it. Tap Super Thanks below. Let your generosity shift your atmosphere. To leave a comment, please type in the following. I am the recipient of this light, 777. In order to enclose this communication within your system, I would like to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to this post. You are assisting in the dissemination of this truth to other souls by doing that. Many have also experienced the feeling of being lost in a world that was not designed for their brightness. First, pay attentive attention. It am I, Michael, the Archangel. And from the very beginning, I have been keeping a watchful eye on you. When you were still in this body, even before you took your first breath, you were aware that this particular incarnation would be unusual. How come? Due to the fact that you are unique. You were never intended to be a part of the group. You were supposed to keep this in mind. To cause disruption, in order to become awake, all of you were assigned to families. Those who were unable to see you, in learning environments that did not comprehend you, as a result of settings that attempted to mold you into something less interesting, more compact, and more secure. However, it was impossible to contain you, irrespective of your efforts. You got a profound sense of everything. What others choose to ignore, you heard. Before they were ever spoken, you were able to detect lies. In addition to that, you were given the following label: just too intense, extremely sensitive, extremely emotional. It's just odd. On the other hand, I will tell you now, you had been trained to do it. That level of subtlety, it is your radar unit. How intense is that? Your power lies in it. Are you feeling lonely? It was a holy state of seclusion, in order to safeguard you until you were prepared. In the eyes of the world, your differences were defects. On the other hand, I interpret them as codes. You do not resemble the other people, because it was never intended for you to be there. Say this right now. It was never in my nature to be accepted. My awakening was forced upon me. 111. You can start the process of remembering by typing it down below. As a result of everything that caused you to feel distinct, in order to make you stand out from the crowd. Sweetheart, now, let's talk about the feeling of being alone. The kind that is brought on by being by oneself. Despite this, the pain that stays with you, even when there are a lot of people in the room. Are you sure you haven't experienced it? The void that remains after you have made an effort to explain yourself, as well as being treated with indifferent looks. That profound awareness, conversations that are taking place around you, are not affecting something that is significantly important. This is not a defect that you possess. This is an indication of sanctity. I feel obligated to share something with you. The vast majority won't do it. You were encoded with a frequency that was otherwise distinct. At the time that you landed on this planet, while working in your field, you carried memories. You have delivered shards of light from the distant past, wisdom that has stood the test of time, as well as layouts derived from dimensions people have long since forgotten. But in order to safeguard these codes, heaven placed a heavenly curtain over you and covered you completely. Some kind of divine disguise. How come? Due to the fact that the world was not prepared for you. Not at this time. And until the hour that was predetermined, you were required to be a part of life. By being a stranger among other strangers. Does it hurt? The grip of a vibration was the source of it. No one in the vicinity could be named. The curtain, however, is beginning to lift. There is an activation of the codes, along with what was previously a sense of seclusion. is exposing itself to be a religiously protected entity. You were concealed for a specific purpose, not because you were not deserving of it, but due to the fact that you were exceptional. Say this right now. Isolation served as a form of protection. I remained concealed in the light. 444. To acknowledge the latent divinity that you possess, type it in the comments section. This is not a place where you will vanish. You are finally making your reappearance here, complete, recollected, and ready to go. Moreover, I, Michael the Archangel, I have come to guide you through the process of uncovering. Keeping you at a distance is no longer an option. You are being summoned to come forward. Sweetheart, your entire life has been governed by a heavenly rhythm every step of the way. Even the lack of sound, in spite of the obstacles, even the peculiar timing of your awakening is a phenomenon. You might be wondering, how come now? Why did I fail to remember it earlier? To put it simply, the time had not yet arrived. For the reason that the world was not yet prepared. Because you are carrying a light. Neither were you, by the way. This is a holy law that states, the preparedness of the revelation must coincide. Should you have walked into your completeness at an earlier stage, you would have exhausted yourself. Or, perhaps worse, surrendered it. To those who were unable to obtain it. Therefore, heaven hid certain aspects of you. Not to give you less credit, but in order to protect you. You never arrived too late. It was a timed event for you. Now, my dearly adored, there is a breach in the seal. Why do you feel such an odd urgency in your chest? The fire that you are unable to explain? That innate feeling that things is becoming different. Below the surface of your typical life? That is the message from your soul. This is the time. It is time to come out. Now is the time to embody. Now is the time to take the lead. Who were never able to fit in, due to the fact that you were never intended to blend in. Both of the timelines are now in sync. This is a call to people who are on Earth. People are reminded of their identity. Moreover, you are one of those people. Say this right now. I choose not to wait any longer. My memory is completely recalled. 777. Simply type it in below, and your divine schedule will be activated. Your reawakening is not a side trip. Here we are, the arrival. Moreover, I, Michael the Archangel, have been there to protect your light up until this particular moment. Now I will provide the key to you. Currently, it is time to reveal what was concealed. Sweetheart, when you feel your light starting to rise, likewise, resistance does. You are not doing something incorrectly, which is the reason for this. However, because you are engaging in a genuine activity, you have been a coward for many years. Lowered the frequency of your voice, a more palatable character for yourself, in order to get acceptance. But the more you shrunk, the more, and your spirit began to ache more. That pain was not a sign of failure. It was a protest from the divine. It was your soul standing firm in its refusal to vanish. You see, systems are successful on sameness, in the absence of sound, the delusion that one is safe. Still there is a disruption in your bones that you feel. On no occasion were you forced to conform. Your purpose in life is to shed light. So when you say what you really believe, the old world trembles in response. If you walk in your power, you will. The phony hierarchies will shake with fear. Of course, there will be some people who leave. It is not because you are incorrect, despite the fact that your vitality brings to light what they are not prepared to confront. They should not be pursued. Avoid shrinking any farther. Their departure is a component of your development. Say this right now. In the future, I shall not be able to keep my light off. 555. Fill in the blanks below and allow the cloak of the false acceptance to fall. For I, Michael the Archangel, a barrier that separates you from every energy, thing has the intention of stifling your soul. Your power is not excessive in any way. This is not an excessively loud voice. It's not strange that you tell the truth. It is not your purpose to participate in their game. Creating a new world is the reason you are here. And in order to construct it, you must first make it possible for others to hear your truth. Allow it to reverberate. Permit it to fly. The spaces that you enter should be rearranged by it. Because the issue is not with the light that you have. The solution is in this. Sweetheart, are you aware of the reason why you were separated? Why did you have to beg for doors to open for you? Why did the people you loved leave you without any apparent reason? This was not due to the fact that you were unworthy. The chills, the tears, the sudden knowing, that was real. Don't silence that moment. Amplify it. Click Super Thanks. Give $33 or more, and let your giving testify. I heard. I felt. I responded. What you release now creates what you need later. Because heaven was getting you ready for something. For a much more significant reason. Beyond what you were able to comprehend at the time. As you can see, that was not a form of punishment. In other words, it was training for leadership. Prior to entrusting any individual with powers of influence, it must be examined in the absence of sight. Rejection was the refinement that you possessed. You shaped yourself through your time alone. In the absence of sound, you acquired the skill of listening. When the heart was broken, you learned how to feel in a way that goes beyond words. In the midst of none, your memory brought to mind the voice of God. You are now carrying what very few people do. Compassion forged in the fire. A vision that was created from wounds. Loss has been etched into brightness. The mark of the called is that such a thing. It's not enough to just survive. You underwent a change. You are the one who has given birth to that development. An authority that is reverent and calm. The type that does not require any kind of applause. The kind that does not complain or yell. When it enters the room, however, it causes everything to change. Say this right now. None of my suffering was in vain. I was ready to take the initiative. 888. Put it down below and allow the previous narrative to fade away. You are not the person that they claim you to be. Not even close to being the person you used to be. You are turning into the person that you have always been destined to be. A person who brings brightness. It is a frequency keeper. A ruler of the kingdoms that cannot be seen. Moreover, I, Michael the Archangel, occupy the position of your throne. Due to the fact that heaven has crowned you, wherever no one was looking, and quickly, they are going to. Sweetheart, your narrative did not start in this location. Simply put, this life is just one chapter. While traveling through dimensions as part of a spiritual trip, this sensation has been carried by you, of not being a part of, throughout the entire world, from one star to the next. Due to the fact that your origin is not of this planet, there is a soul of old light within you. One who travels, one who keeps, and one who is a messenger. The Lemurian healers have accompanied you on your journey. The people who constructed Atlantis, Egypt's priests and priestesses, all of whom were, as well as those who observed the celestial bodies. The memories that you hold are buried so deeply. They manifest themselves as instincts, the urge toward the realm of the sky, anguish that comes from witnessing injustice, having the awareness that something isn't quite right. That is, even if no one else notices it. These are not the result of a mistake. Activations are what they are. Those are mutterings coming from other dimensions. Only to remind you, this is something you've done before. What is that sensation of being exceptional? The beginning of it was not in childhood. It is the reverberation of many lifetimes. In the position that you held as a torchbearer. As a result, they were frequently destroyed. However, this time around, it is not possible to silence you. By this moment, you are completely encircled. On this occasion, your voice will be safeguarded, because the earth is now rising, and the ones were summoned in by it, who have pushed the boundaries of time, whose codes have been born through the flames, who are able to remember even when no one else does. Say this right now. I retrieve my recollection from the distant past. I rise above this life's limitations. 1212. When you type it in below, you will feel the lineage rising up in your bones. It was never enough to simply be different. Always, you were a divine being. Now is the time, and it has here, so as to deliver the light that has been 1,000 lifetimes. By way of this one, for I, Michael the Archangel, I will accompany you as you go through this remembering. You are not going to be a novice. You are a repeat visitor. Sweetheart, how much time have you spent wearing the mask? The one that brought you back to normal, agreeable you. It is simple to digest. You are an expert in the art of going unnoticed, not due to the fact that you were so dark, but because the intensity of your light was too great. For those who are not yet prepared to accept it, you laughed when you ought to have been crying. After your heart shouted no, you gave in and agreed. You made yourself smaller, solely for the purpose of setting others at ease. Then again, there is a crack in the mask. This is not because you were unable to keep it, mostly due to the fact that your spirit is no longer willing to lie. It was never intended for you to remain silent. In a world that is famished for the truth, along with the truth, as unprocessed and luminous as it is holy. If you choose to conceal your light, you prevent other people from receiving healing. Make sure that your voice is muted. It is you who delays their awakening. When you act as if you are underneath others, you are obstructing the divine design, happening as a result of you. We are not being arrogant here. Alignment is what this is. The term ego is not synonymous with ego, not to mention embodiment. Ego cries out for approval loudly. Peace is communicated via embodiment. And much adored, you are being asked to embody this desire, that your energy should be able to speak more loudly than your fear. The act of entering rooms, that you are a part of it, despite the fact that nobody applauds. Say this right now. The mask is removed by me. When I walk, I am my authentic self. 1111. Fill it out below and make today the day you do it. Apologies for your soul are no longer necessary. For I, Michael the Archangel, you have my full support in this unveiling. I will avoid allowing you to fall. Therefore, heaven will not either. There is no necessity for this planet. You in a more subdued appearance. This requires the genuine you, full of life, full of sensation, and free of limits. Sweetheart, it was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. Despite the fact that it appeared to this, isolation was a genuine feeling. However, it was not your fate to do so. In other words, it was a passage, a holy cover or cloak. You were protected by that while your wings were developing. And at this point, some wings are beginning to rise. At this point, you are starting to take notice of it, right? People who are able to communicate with you without using words. Strangers who have a comforting sense of familiarity. Connections that provide the impression of being organized by a higher power. This is not accidental in any way. Convergence is the term. The gathering of those who carry the light. The gathering of soul tribes together. You have spent countless lifetimes dispersed over multiple timelines. Being silent while working, grids must be activated. In harsh environments, maintaining light. Then again, there has been a call placed. It is time to come together. People who carry frequencies that are comparable are experiencing a coming together, not to provide solace. For a certain reason, when souls that have been awakened come together, it's not only that they shine. There is a spark. Your presence energizes those around you. Codes are triggered by your words. Your recovery has an impact on many generations. You had to go first because of this reason, in order for other people to see you. And don't forget about themselves. Say this right now. I am in harmony with my ultimate family. I respond to the divine call, which is 717. Enter it below, and you will feel the circle constricting, the weaving of the threads. In this situation, You are no longer by yourself. For I, Michael the Archangel, am making the connections more aligned, making arrangements for the gatherings. The path has been cleared. It is no longer necessary for you to provide an explanation. To put it simply, you will be comprehended. When you are observed as well, by those who have a genuine perception, an agony that goes on for 1,000 lifetimes, it starts to recover. Sweetheart, the entirety of your life has been preparing you for this moment. Not the day before, not the following year. Right now, this is not a moment that you missed. You have your feet planted in it. Each and every rejection, every single loss, each and every night when you questioned your meaning in life, there was a purpose behind them too. You were being aligned by them. This video, it's not a coincidence. It's an altar moment. What you sow now, God will multiply. Your gift of $22 or more isn't payment. It's participation. Click Super Thanks and say to the universe, use me, send me, align me, according to your actual timeline, due to the fact that the way they provided for you never intended to be a good fit. It turned out to be a costume. At the very instant that your soul became conscious, it started to itch. You attempted to compel yourself to follow a narrative that was not yours to begin with. And the rubbing that you experienced, what you just said was the truth. And at this point, you are aware of it. Your spirit is no longer inquiring this in a commanding manner. It is getting higher. Timelines are being activated by it. It was before you were born that you wrote. Am I able to sense it? Does it pull? Having the abrupt realization that particular individuals, locations, and patterns unable to accompany you at this time, that is not unsuccessful. Yes, that is alignment. What was just intended to carry you has become too little for you. To the entrance. Now is the time to go through the motions. Say this right now. As I enter my highest timeline, I am able to. The divine function that I have accepted is 999. If you type it below, it will collapse any bogus paths that are still there in your environment. For I, Michael the Archangel, are looking forward to spending this time with you. I have been the keeper of the scroll that contains your fate, and at this moment, I unfold it in front of your spirit. This is what is ahead. Will be distinct from those that are behind them. Why is it that this time, you are not making an effort to blend in? You have come to take the spotlight. At long last, the entire planet is prepared to accept you in your current state. Sweetheart, you are making your way back to the person you used to be. Rather, to the person you have always been. There is no longer any need to pretend. No more reducing in size. There is no longer any need to wait for someone to grant you permission. That you are what your spirit has already declared you to be. You have emerged from your hiding place. You are currently in the unveiling stage. Every decision that you make right now must reflect the reality that you have discovered and be consistent with it. There will be no more bargaining with dread. Never again will you sell yourself for crumbs. Whenever heaven has arranged for a feast to be deposited within you, the integration is complete at this point. Your light, your voice, and your presence, both your narrative and your objective, merge into a single entity. And cherished, it is impossible to forget what you have learned. After what your soul has shown you, it is impossible to undo it. A shattered illusion has been created. There has been a collapse of the fake timelines. Also, the golden thread is right in front of you, regarding your true destinies. Continuing to shine, continuing to wait. Remain holy. You have not come to this place to live. You have come to guide, to heal, and to provoke awakening. Not only other people, but the aspects of yourself that you have forgotten. Say this right now. This remembrance is sealed by me. Thousands of times, I walk as my heavenly self. In the space provided below, type it as a promise to your own spirit. For I, Michael the Archangel, I will be there for you as we start this new chapter. You have been protected by my light. until you reached a point where you were able to carry it to its entire extent. Right now is that day. One of the countless people is not you. Of the few, you are one of them. These are the pioneers who constructed the bridges. Frequency holders are the ones. However, the entire globe has been waiting because you are the only one who can bring it. Leave right now to avoid pursuing. To radiate, however, the same as you do, those that are meant to feel you will do so. The appropriate ways to proceed will become apparent. Also, the appropriate doors will be opened, devoid of coercion, not being afraid, without any weight. To leave a comment, please type in the following. It is finished. I am available and I am firmer. 144 inches. In addition, spread this word. In no way for likes. However, for the sake of legacy, tell everyone in the world. The chosen ones have come to their senses. In addition, this time, they seem to recall